Howdy howdy and welcome back to Cuphead. Today is a very special day because we're going to play against the Devil and Saltbaker in expert difficulty using the Divine Relic. That's a lot to take in. We're not going to be using Miss Chalice because personally I feel like she makes some bosses very easy, and especially in the DLC because, well, the bosses were designed around her, so she's going to shine and we don't want to shine, we actually want to suffer. But not really, because we're going to be using the Divine Relic, which is actually a good charm. Yes, a lot of mixed feelings about this charm, I know, I mean, yeah. How can you say it's good after you say it's bad, after you say it's good? Shut up. Okay, listen, shut up. It has its, upsides and its downsides, and that's exactly why I want to use that charm, today, to actually show you exactly what the Divine Relic is good at, and not so good at. Oh, the devil, he used to be so painful, but today, not so much. So, right off the bat, what I can tell you is that the Divine Relic is great against the devil because, especially in the first phase, because you get rid of those minions, he spawns, with Western by just parrying them. And that's like, I feel like in this fight, you get a lot of value out of Western, especially in the second and third phases, because you get to parry that phase a lot. So even the weapon switching wasn't that bad, because again, that's an old boss, so we were used to going against him with either Cuphead or Mughead, so it wasn't that big of a deal going against the devil using the Divine Relic. I don't know about the time either, I felt like the time was alright, because yeah, I was actually going for the S rank, because that's like, why wouldn't I? It made this challenge way harder, because defeating the bosses, right, it's not a big deal. Going for S rank, yeah, that's where the difficulty lies. So, phase 1 was actually very easy. And I feel like, when it comes to the devil, the hardest phase is the third one. Even here, my only issue would be that sometimes, when I would go to parry those bombs, I would accidentally parry the devil extend and I would die. I mean, not die, but take a hit, because I didn't parry what I wanted to parry in the first place. And that's going to be a common issue for, when it comes to using Western. You really want to align your parry very well and not be too close, because sometimes the hitboxes for the bosses can be kind of janky. Like, most of the time, when I want to go for a parry on the boss, I miss, but when I accidentally want to go, for a parry on something parryable, like those pink projectiles, I get to parry the boss stand. Like, it's very inconsistent, but in this fight it's not too bad, because, well, he has that giant, biggest face. It's really hard to miss the devil. So yeah, Western, as you can see, great value, and the devil is already crying, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I actually think he's going to die here. Oh my god, yeah, the Divine Relic, Coffee, Western, amazing. Even the weapon switching is actually very nice, because I get to change and don't dash too much. But even when I was dashing, it wasn't that big of a deal. So the devil is not hard anymore, especially with the Divine Relic. He's not hard. But when it comes to Saltbaker, that ridiculous, hellish, devious first phase is so chaotic. I hate it and love it at the same time. Good lord, is it hard. The whole fight depends on you actually being able to make it to phase 3, because yeah, phase 2 is also quite difficult. And to be honest, I can't tell you how many times I actually wanted to go for a parry on those, on the sugar, on the ice cubes, sugar cubes, and accidentally hit Saltbaker, which made me bounce out of position, and then I got hit. And that's what I meant by, because Western is good when it works, and when you actually go there wanting to parry the boss. But when you don't want to do that, it can throw you off. And that first phase is so chaotic, because forget about the two flames, right? It's not that bad to avoid them. My strategy is pretty simple. Every time I see that both flames are on one side of the screen, I go to the opposite side so that I don't get hit. And in my head, I already know that, okay, after like every 3 seconds, one flame is going to go down, so I always pay attention to that. And yeah, smoke bomb was actually quite useful in this phase, but I think the hardest thing in this fight, especially while using the Divine Relic, is landing those shots, because you always need to have a weapon which can land those shots. It's not always the case, but even if you make it past the first phase, especially in my case, the second phase is just as cancer. It is so bad. And mind you, I was able to beat Saltbaker and actually all the DST bosses using Twin Heart and Chaser, like the worst possible build damage you can possibly think about. I did it using those, like Chaser, and Chaser was actually very good against Saltbaker. But what makes this second phase really hard is not even the flames, it's the fucking leaves. Those leaves are so annoying because they move with finesse, and I hate finesse. Most of the time I would get hit thinking they actually vanished out of the screen, but no, there's just that tiny mini piece of hitbox left on the screen and then I got hit. The leaves make that phase so much harder than it has to be, and that's about it, because the remaining of the fight is quite simple. In theory, if you're not me, you're going to breeze through phase 3 and phase 4. What I usually do is keep my ult for phase 3, because I don't want to deal with that jumping ice, like snowman, snow twin. I don't like it. And here it's exactly, the hurt, parrying the hurt is actually fine, because, well, you also have Western, so it's going to add up, the damage is going to add up, and, well, basically if you're not bad, that phase is going to be fairly simple. And just like that, he is dead, and I can tell you already, Expert Saltbaker is probably one of the hardest bosses, if not the hardest boss in the game. The devil doesn't even compare, especially with the Divine Relic. The devil is like a joke. But Saltbaker, it took me so many tries just to get past the first phase, only to die in the second one. I figured that the fight against the devil was significantly easier when coming from the fight with Saltbaker, because you get used to having to deal with 3,000 things on the screen to like just 3 things on the screen. So it's like, if you are still struggling against the devil, I'll say just play against Saltbaker. Get used to playing against him and come back to play against the devil. You'll be like, wait, is that supposed to be a final boss? Like, I want him to get even harder. Because as of right now, I feel like a lot of people are going to agree with the fact that Saltbaker on Expert is just a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Watch me completely whiff that ult. It doesn't even matter. But if he was against Saltbaker, I would have probably just restarted my run, because there is no way I'm going to miss those precious ultimate. But when it comes to Saltbaker, I figured that using Chaser was actually not bad at all. Actually, it's really good, mostly because the hardest part of this fight comes from landing those shots. It's not always easy to land those shots, which is why the time is kind of off using the Divine Relic, because most of that time was spent switching weapon, and if I ever got Luber on the first phase, I was pretty much useless, and some other weapons were useless. But in my time using Chaser and Twin Heart, by the way lowers your attack power by 10%, even though I was kinda nerfed, I was able to defeat Saltbaker in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, which means that, even a bad version of Chaser is still better than using, and yeah, mind you, I also got the DS rank for Saltbaker, which is crazy. I couldn't believe it. Chaser? Really? Chaser? Being good against Saltbaker? Yeah, it is good, and it's going to be okay if you use it. So yeah, that third phase is so much chaos. That third phase against the devil is so much chaos sometimes, but some other times, it is whatever. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Maybe. I don't know. Bye bye. Bye bye.